right now, I am eating JoJo Siwa ice cream with a JoJo Siwa spoon. And I'm JoJo Siwa. Pretty cool. Dream guest on my podcast? Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, let's spice things up. One of my exes. Oh?
When JoJo Siwa first announced she was launching her own cruise, people genuinely didn't believe it was real. Now the cruise has actually happened, and the content coming out of it might be some of the most viral, most confusing, and most entertaining footage of the year. Bow-making classes. Full-grown adults dressed up as JoJo, a concert at sea. Let's get into everything that went down. To understand why this cruise carries a little extra weight, you need the quick backstory. Last year, JoJo canceled her US tour, citing logistics, right around the time she started dating Chris Hughes, who's from the UK. Because she'd also been doing well on her UK tour, a lot of people speculated that she just didn't want to leave the UK, and her new relationship, especially with everything else going on publicly around the timeline of her last relationship ending. Others pointed out it may have simply made more business sense to focus where ticket sales were strongest. Either way, the US tour didn't happen, and a chunk of her American fan base was left without a show to attend. The cruise, announced back in December, felt like it could have been her way of making that up to them. She posted a teaser, calling it the most immersive fan event she'd ever created. A live concert at sea, parties, games, a dance class, and more, with a link to reserve a cabin. At the time, it honestly made sense. JoJo has made a ton of cruise content over the years and has an established relationship with Royal Caribbean. But people weren't sure if this was a real product or some kind of joke. It sold out anyway. What nobody fully expected was who actually showed up. Most people assumed this would be parents bringing their kids to see JoJo perform. Instead, the cruise turned into a fully adult phenomenon. Adults dressed up in JoJo's signature style. Adults drinking, partying, and fully committing to the bit. And JoJo herself, right there in the middle of it, dancing along with everyone. The full activity lineup gives you a sense of how immersive this actually was. A welcome party, a meet and greet, a dance party, the Infinity Heart concert at sea, JoJo Siwa trivia, a Build-A-Bow workshop, a Q&A, an autograph session, a photo session, a dance class, and a farewell party to close it out. There was an entire merch lineup too. Bows, t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, beach towels, full swag bags. Cabin prices ranged from around $1,000 up to $5,000 for the nicer suites, and those higher-end suites sold out almost immediately when the cruise was first announced. The standout viral content came from two creators, Molly and Heidi, who documented basically their entire experience and racked up millions of views doing it. Their videos captured exactly the energy of the whole event, walking up to the ship, getting hype over announcements, waiting outside the concert venue 2 hours early just to be first in line, randomly getting recognized and photographed by other passengers, and at one point describing the whole experience as feeling like being a huge toddler in the best possible way. When the actual JoJo concert wrapped, one of them said on camera that she didn't have the words yet because she was still processing it, but that it was, without exaggeration, the best night of her life. That kind of reaction is exactly what made this spread so fast, because it forced everyone watching to ask the same question. Were these people doing this completely unironically, or was this an elaborate bit? The internet was split, and honestly stayed split the entire weekend. A lot of comments fell into pure confusion, people asking what was actually happening in reality, saying they had no idea JoJo Siwa had this kind of dedicated fan base, wondering out loud if the whole thing was a joke. One creator on the cruise directly responded to that skepticism, saying flatly that it was very much not a joke and that it had been the best weekend of her life, adding that she felt for anyone who couldn't be there to experience it with them. What actually tipped a lot of people toward believing these were genuine fans, rather than people performing a bit for clout, was the level of detail people were engaging with. Folks were referencing specific JoJo lore, talking to her dad about particular performances, engaging with details that would be a strange amount of effort to fake purely for a joke. If you're trolling, you generally don't go that deep. That said, not everyone on the ship even knew they'd booked the JoJo cruise in the first place. It turns out, this was only a portion of a larger cruise itinerary, which led to its own wave of content from people who'd booked a standard relaxing vacation, and discovered mid-trip that they'd accidentally wandered into JoJo Siwa programming. Some of those reactions were priceless. people posting that they'd accidentally booked the JoJo cruise. Others watching from home expressing genuine regret that they hadn't signed up themselves, saying they now had to live the experience vicariously through everyone else's updates. There was also a meaningful wave of pushback, mostly centered on the idea of adults attending the cruise at all. For some people online, that was the part they simply couldn't get past. One commenter put it bluntly, saying that a full-grown adult voluntarily going on a JoJo Siwa cruise was, in their words, weird as hell. Others echoed similar sentiments, arguing that the event felt more like something designed for children, and that seeing adults enthusiastically participating in JoJo-themed activities struck them as unusual. But that criticism immediately ran into another wave of responses from people who saw the situation very differently. Many commenters openly admitted they completely understood the appeal. Some compared it to fandoms built around childhood cartoons, Disney theme parks, boy bands, wrestling, or even niche internet communities. Their argument was simple. Adults spend money on nostalgic experiences all the time. If people can fly across the country for comic conventions, spend thousands attending fan expos, or dedicate entire weekends to celebrating franchises they loved growing up, then a JoJo Siwa cruise isn't really that different. Others pointed out that there was an undeniable sense of self-awareness among many attendees. Several people joked that they recognized the energy immediately because they'd each taken their own favorite hobby, fandom, or joke much further than most people would consider normal. As one commenter put it, once you've already committed to getting on the ship, what exactly are you supposed to do besides lean into the experience, have fun, and make memories? At that point, embracing the absurdity becomes part of the entertainment. A lot of the defense ultimately came down to a very practical observation. The generation that grew up watching JoJo Siwa on television is no longer made up entirely of children. Many of those fans are now adults with jobs, disposable income, and a sense of nostalgia for the personalities and entertainers they followed during their younger years. What looked bizarre to some outsiders looked completely normal to people who had been part of that fan community for years. And perhaps the strongest argument in favor of the cruise came from the footage itself. Nearly every video posted from onboard showed attendees laughing, dancing, participating in activities, meeting fellow fans, and generally having a great time. Even people who initially mocked the concept often admitted that everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves. Several commenters questioned what the actual problem was supposed to be if paying customers were receiving exactly the experience they wanted. And that's really the angle that ties the entire story together. Whatever you personally think about full-grown adults wearing oversized bows, attending themed dance parties, or competing in trivia contests about JoJo's career on a cruise ship, the business reality is difficult to ignore. People paid real money, sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, to be there. The premium suites reportedly sold out before many people online even believed the cruise was a serious idea. In other words, JoJo didn't need to win over every skeptic posting jokes on social media. The people who mattered most from a business standpoint, the ones actually booking cabins and showing up, had already made their decision. Whether outsiders found it strange or not, the cruise proved there was a dedicated audience willing to support it. And in the entertainment industry, that's often the only metric that truly matters. She's spent years building a brand around nostalgia, performance, and an audience that grew up alongside her public persona. This cruise is just the latest, and possibly most successful, version of converting that built-in loyalty into an actual product people are willing to pay premium prices for. Whether or not the internet collectively understood what was happening in real time, JoJo Siwa is the one who ended up profiting from the confusion, the memes, and the millions of views generated by people trying to figure out if any of it was real. It was real. People had fun. And JoJo is very likely laughing all the way to the bank over how viral the skepticism itself became. Drop a comment. Would you ever go on a JoJo Siwa cruise? And do you think the people who went were genuine fans? Or were they just along for the bit?